Welcome back to Lost Cause Garage. So here's my new toy. It's an Atlas Clousing 5310 lathe. And it was a hell of a thing getting in here, I can tell you that. I put it on a couple dollies for now. And I don't actually know what everything on it does or is, but it is similar to my little lathe. This is a Craftsman 109. It's missing the auto feed gears, but it works, it's cool. So yeah, so here's and I've been trying to free everything up that I could free up. But what I really wanted to show you was this. This is the motor, and I took it apart. Get a screwdriver. And I was just fascinated by the the filth in here. Now I haven't tried it. It runs on 220, so which I have a line. But man, look at that. Oops, sorry. So here's the armature. Looks really good. And you might say, well, why didn't you just try it before? So this bearing, ooh, I thought that was a good one. That bearing is seized. This bearing's the good one-ish. I mean, it's not great. But this one is, that would not have lasted long. So I'm going to take that off and replace it. And interestingly, I bought a puller, a hydraulic puller, and I didn't have any use for it, and I felt kind of silly. But now I've been using it quite a bit, actually, so. So yeah, I already cleaned out this side. This side, I was a whole pile, a whole handful of goop. Yeah, so I think this lathe was made in the 1940s. And so I do know, of course, this is the chuck. I made this today because it didn't come with a key. But that's frozen right now, it's not working. This is the tool holder. And I believe, pretty sure this is a type of turret that holds various tools. And you crank that, I think, to slide the carriage forward into the chuck. But that's all frozen too. But I was successful in getting it bolted to the table and getting a whole bunch of like the tool holder now moves. And I have a piece that comes out here that connects here, which for the life of me, I have no idea what it does. It's over here. And I have it soaking in penetrating oil. Whoops. So I'm not sure if it engages the auto feed gears, or I don't even know what it does. So one of the things about machines like this is they have multiple speeds, but they also control this threaded rod at a rate consistent with the speed of the chuck. And the reason is you can make screws or you can make thread, and it'll drive the tool holder at the same, at a pace that you've calculated. Yeah, so it's kind of a piece of shit, to be honest, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So, all right, I'll give you an update in a while, a couple weeks, as things get going. Take care. Lost Cause Garage. Okay, welcome back, Lost Cause Garage. Little update. So here's the giant motor. It came with the lathe, and it is a Leland Faraday, single phase, thank goodness. And I pulled the armature out and pulled the two bearings off the end. The one was okay, the other one needed to be replaced. So I had a heck of a time trying to match this old bearing, and I actually purchased some from Amazon for $9 for two bearings, and they're going to be the wrong size. I can tell. But anyway, I'll figure that out. So I noticed when I had it apart that this little stop has snapped off, and so I made a little piece, or I'm making a little piece. I'm going to put right there. I don't even know if I actually need this piece, but I'll put it in. If I see if I can find some little pop rivets. And yeah, I don't think there's anything under it. Anyway, so that's that. I broke down and bought a Harbor Freight parts cleaner, which turned out to be a lifesaver because it's so filthy. The whole thing is so filthy, and it did a hell of a job. And I'm gonna paint it, and all I have is black, so it's gonna be black. And you can see it didn't get everything, but so basically the whole machine was covered in stuff like that. So it did a tremendous job. Anyway, last thing, I bought rust. What's it called? Evaporust. And I'm soaking parts. That was clear, so I think it's working. I'm soaking a bunch of the rusty parts, including the chuck, which will not budge. And I don't want to bang on it, but if need be, I'll heat it up with the torch. And it's getting there. I mean, it's definitely come a long way. I was able to get the cover off, vacuum down in there, and did some lubrication. So there's a lot going on. And I'm not entirely sure what this thing does, but it goes all the way and comes out here and can go through the chuck. So I guess maybe you can have giant tools, or maybe you can like machine a rifle barrel or something like that. Yeah, pretty awesome. And then here, this is the drive pulley. And what was interesting is two of these Allen bolts, one was missing and one was stripped and hanging off, and the other one was tight, or tight-ish, but that wouldn't have run for very long. So I took those out, tapped them, and put new Allen bolts. So even though they look like they're sticking out, it's because my tapping, I didn't go all the way down unless I needed to. Anyway, Lathe Garage. Okay, so I did it. I pop riveted. I don't even know if it was necessary, but I also cleaned the contacts. And so it's ready to go back together. I'll clean up the armature a little bit with some emery cloth. And actually, I'm just looking at that. Yeah, I'll clean this up too, because that's a contact surface. And then I either got to restore those bearings or get new ones. I got to order new ones. The issue was the replacement bearing was 1 millimeter, and they said it was 25 millimeters. And they said that's the same as an inch, and that's just not true. An inch is slightly smaller than 25 millimeters, and that makes all the difference, because this is a compression fit, or this is a compression fitting, a force fitting. Nothing holds it on but the tightness of the bearing. So anyway, it's not gonna work. Lathe Garage. Welcome back, Lathe Garage. All right, so I came out here to work on the lathe, and I did not like that the new parts washer was on the table, because I like using the table, but I didn't know what to do. So I got it so that you can use it. I need 2 hands to do it, but oops, you hooked in bits. Isn't that cute? Boom, booyah. And actually that's as far as it goes. I don't know why it doesn't go higher than that. Whatever. Anyway, works fine for me. Yes. So that's it. Boom. All right, welcome back. It's a couple days later, and during one of those days I smashed my finger, and it was bleeding under my nail. It was very painful, a lot of pressure. So I drilled a hole in my fingernail and let the pressure out. Oh my God. It definitely hurt when the drill went into my finger a little bit, but leaving the pressure out, that was fantastic. All right, so I'm fixing this. I'm not even sure what it is, but I'm gonna fix it. It's got a broken bolt right there. And I'm gonna use this technique. I've used it many times. It's been working really well. Where if you have a little bit sticking up, you put a bolt on it, a nut on it, and weld it, and then just unscrew it. That's the plan. If it's below the surface, then generally you have to drill it out. And look at this, got the motor together. I'm not positive if it's wired 120 or 240, whatever, 110, 240. And I have a friend that's two friends that are electricians. So maybe I'll ask them. Probably not, but maybe I will. And, oh, this is fantastic. I got the chuck after the amazing, what's that stuff called? Something rust? Evaporust? Oh, my, Evaporust? Oh my God, it really worked. And got the chuck working. So it's a little sticky, but it definitely works. So that's exciting. This, not so much. I didn't realize this was bent, and I took the bolt, the nut off, and destroyed the threads. But it, so I've been trying to get this thing apart. I don't completely understand that. But anyway, right now I'm gonna work on this. Wish me luck. Okay, bye. All right. Well, that worked. Oops. Let's just see it. So this is my third attempt, and I tried a vice grips because I got some weld on the end. I thought I could twist it off. Oh, there was a failed attempt right there. Anyway, yeah, so all I had to do was get it off of the bearing housing. Oops, it's really hot. And did it. And I have so many fasteners in the other room that, look at this. So, yeah, that's cool. All right, well, now I'm going to fix something else. Okay. All right, it's another day. And I finally got the tool holder off and completely stripped apart. And I got the rust off. Figured out how to get the bolts back on, which was pretty complicated. You had to go through this little hole down there. And really, everything's going stellarly. I mean, a lot of the parts are quite pitted, but that's all right. But, and this is not an easy job I'm about to describe, but the one major damage occurred here on this end, and I ground it down, but this was not only bent, but the threads were shot. So I'm going to cut it off and weld new threads on, because this thing doesn't spin or anything. This is just a controller for the tool holder. So if I get it reasonably true, it'd be nice to have a big lathe to do this on. All right, anyway, I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, I cut the old piece of the spline off. Goes that way. And then here you can see, see how I chamfered the two, I think it's called chamfering. And the reason for that is, and this is like, a lot of people who start welding don't understand this, but if you just had butt-ended things like that flat on each other and you welded the outside, it wouldn't be very strong because none of the inside would be welded. And so in this way, you get the weld to penetrate deeper. And of course, this weld is all about trying to keep it straight. So it might take a couple attempts. Anyway, give it a try. Okay, so I cut the pieces and I welded them. And you can see it came out pretty well. It's not perfectly straight, but it's absolutely straight enough for this 80-year-old lathe. So yeah, now I'm gonna really put the rest of this together. I'm pretty psyched about that actually. That came out okay. And then here's the other one, and that one I think is fine. But I do have another bolt if I need to splice another splice. So, all right, I'll bring you back for the next crisis. Okay, I'm doing the happy dance because this motor was seized up. The bearings were shot. I ordered new bearings. They're the wrong size, so I used a vapor rest on the bearings. And then I did not understand the wiring. And I called a friend who's an electrical genius, and that's Phil. And fucking, oh my God, it's running great. There's actually a little broken tab in there, and I don't know if it would have run with that broken tab. Probably would have, but anyway. So yeah, all right. So I'm going to run it. I'm running at 110. It was wired for 220, and I finally understood the wiring diagram. So I went from this configuration to this one to run it on low or 110, which it's designed to do. It says it on the tag. Anyway, woo! Fuck, baby. Yeah. All right. All right. It's a couple days later. Yep, got it running, and I'm effing psyched. I hooked it up. I figured out the wiring of the motor, and I hooked it up 110, but it's drawing a lot of amperage. You can, it's tripping the breaker, not all the time, but just starting. I think it's probably drawing 25, 30 amps, maybe more. But so I'm wiring it up now for 220, and the problem is I have a 220. I put in a 220 line for the welder, yeah, and that's over there. But so I'm going to put a 220 line into the attic and come down and use this outlet and plug it in. I just bought some wire. I was going to steal wire from the welder, but I bought some wire from Home Depot. It was like, I think $2 a foot, so it wasn't too bad. Anyway, everything is cooking, and it's actually starting to really free up. Oh, and I painted it. Yes. I should have blown it all apart and painted it properly, but I was too lazy to do that. So I took this thing off. Anyway, Lost Cause Garage. Right. Wired it for 220. I didn't run the line yet, but oh, it's running great. Okay, I don't know if you noticed some smoke, but the motors are running really hot. And so I wondered if I checked the wiring, and I wondered if the white and the yellow wires were actually reversed, because they look, I don't know if you can see that, but this is supposed to be the white wire, and you can see it looks yellow. And this is supposed to be the white wire. I put a coating on there. A yellow coating, so I mean a yellow shrink wrap, so you can't really see it. But if you track that one back, it also looks yellow. So I switched them, and that did not appear to be right, because it just buzzed. And but it's still really, really hot. So it could be the motor is on its way out, or there's all kinds of filth still in there from years of sitting in a shop. Anyway, very close. It does run. I probably couldn't run it for long periods of time, and I may need to redo the motor or get another motor, which would be probably super expensive. But anyway, we're very close. Okay, this is it. I figured it out. There was a short in the motor, and some idiot did some work in the motor, thought he was all that, and it caused a problem. Anyway, I undid that work, and let's see if it works. It's pretty loud. Yeah, it works. No smoke. That screech you heard at the beginning is there's so much torque on the belt. It just creep. So I think for the time being, enough work on the enough work on the fixing the lathe. Let's start using the lathe. I also made a piece. It's missing a piece that keeps this thing from rocking. So I made a piece out of wood, at least temporarily, and it works. You can move the whole carriage, but eventually I'll do it right. All right, so this is like a mid 40s Atlas. I took the badge off. Atlas clousing lathe, and I think it is a 4-foot bed from here to here, from here to here, meaning you could have a piece in it. It's got a tailstock, which you don't see here. It's not in great shape. It's missing some parts. That's down there. And then I have a turret, which is currently not in great shape, but I think it's going to really work well. And I think what this thing does is you can rotate tools as the end stock and crank them in using this. You can't see the crank, but here's the crank over here. So you crank it into the workpiece, and that way you just have a lot more options. So yeah, I'm pretty psyched. Anyway, Lost Cause Garage. All right, well, I was putting the video together and I realized I didn't quite record everything towards the end. I got a quick change tool holder or tool post, and I was able to figure out the turret lathe. And just check it out. I replaced or welded the gear up. Maybe I showed you that, but check it out. It actually auto changes. I don't know why you need that. Why can't you just change it by yourself? But whatever, it's cool, man. And I got some parts for it. This is called a live center because it has a bearing in here. And over here you can see a chuck. I had that for the for another tool. And so here are the tools, posts. Oh, sorry. Here are the tools. Let's see if I have one. Yeah, here's one with a cutter blade. And what you do is you slide these on the tool post. Get to open it. Like so, lock it in, and then align the cutter to the workpiece, of course. But it's running great. I did put the wiring into the ceiling, or into the, can you see it? Yeah, you see that yellow wire right there is the 220, and it goes up in the attic, goes down through that wall and down to the utility room. I didn't hook it into the box yet, but that's next. And yeah, so painted the motor, got the wiring squared away, got myself a lamp, and yeah, so now I'm just going to use it. That's it. That's all that's left. Came out really well. Yeah, I did get another ginormous tool while I was doing this. It was a little bit of an impulse buy, and I had a little buyer's remorse on that one. It does work, but maybe I'll load that one up. I did film some of the work. Okay, well, that's it. Lost Cause Garage, Atlas clousing, metal lathe, it works.